On today, we unveil another game based on the Quake 2 engine.
Kimberly, come in. Are you okay?
We got the power.
You are now listening to Retro Radio.
Welcome to another edition of Retro Radio, your only comprehensive online source for classic, arcade, and computer gaming emulation news and information. I'm Shane R. Monroe, your host. Welcome to the program.
Well, folks, it's been quite a while since we've had an episode of Retro Radio. In fact, it's been about a month. Guess we're going to go from an every couple of week show to an every month show. But this time we've got something truly impressive. This is going to be the show of shows. I wish I could have done this for the one-year anniversary episode of Retro Radio. This is sort of a delayed present for the anniversary of Retro Radio. Today in our studios, I'm looking around, studio, we have with us Sniper 75, a.k.a. MCP, a.k.a. just about every other name you can imagine relating to Tron. You've probably seen him on the chat rooms. I know you've been to his site, which is snipercade.com or Twin Galaxies. He is going to be hanging out in the studio with us. Ron, why don't you hop up here, say hello to the good people?
Greetings, programs.
There you go, trademark. Anyway, this episode, we've got a lot to cover. It's going to probably be one of the longest for Retro Radio episodes. We've dubbed this the Geometry episode because we're going to be skewing off on tangents left and right. So don't expect us to stay close together on the track. But we are going to do a lot of the basics. We're going to have my basic editorial here at the beginning, and Ron's going to bring in his comments. We are going to do the emulation update and set you up to date on RetroCade and MAME and all those other good emulators out there. We're going to review the Stick-It controller, which is the Hot Rod's new competition. And boy, have they got something to sweat about, folks. We'll be doing that later on in the show. Of course, we will be doing an 8-bit flashback, but I think we're going to bend the rules. It's that kind of episode. We might as well bend them all the way. We're going to do our first 16-bit flashback. Yes, 16-bit flashback, which if you know me, you know Ron, that means Amiga. That's right, it's the Amiga flashback. Well, for this episode. We'll get back to our regular 8-bit later on, next episode. But we have something very special. Ron and I are totally addicted to Deluxe Galaga, so that's going to be our review. We're going to tell you all the dirty little secrets of Deluxe Galaga. Okay. Also, of course, as promised, we are going to do the Retro Radio commemorative one-year anniversary CD-ROM giveaway to a lucky person on our mailing list. I need to note, too, that if we do this again in the future, signing up more than once on the mailing list will not increase your chances. In fact, I might just feel like a butt nugget and clip you off the list if you sign up more than once. Anyway, considering I've had like 30 people sign up since I announced this a few days ago, I think we've got a good carrot to get people on the mailing list, which is good. And to wrap the show up, we're going to give that CD away. So you're going to have to listen all the way through because you'll never know when we're going to give you the secret word. Okay, folks, let's start off with, first of all, my editorial. And I'm going to go off because that's what you pay me for. That's what I'm here for. If you haven't been following the news, shame on you. Our buddies, our friends, our comrade in arms, Gateway, your favorite computer vendor and mine, as you may or may not have heard, acquired the rights to all the software, intellectual properties, and anything that bared the name Amiga. This happened a couple of years ago. And they've been quite quiet since, promising, of course, the user base of Amigas not only an upgrade to their operating system, the 3.5 operating system upgrade, which is supposed to allow seamless connection to the Internet, but also a new machine to be forthcoming. In fact, they even released prototype pictures. Another company got on board and said, yeah, we're going to make clones. Yeah, let us license the technology from you and we'll make Amiga clones. Things were starting to smell like roses. Then along came Gateway and pooped on the roses, all over the roses. As you may or may not have heard, our buddies at Gateway have decided to make the Amiga into a toaster. And for those of you going, ooh, toaster, hey, new tech. We're not talking about the new tech video toaster. We're talking about your kitchen toaster, the thing you put slices of bread in, push the little knob down in a few minutes, burn your fingers pulling the bread out. Gateway has decided it'd be all fun and nice to take the Amiga name. You know what I can't figure out? The Commodore name would have been better to put on the toaster. At least Commodores were found in the home, you know? Thank you, Ron. I'm getting some sympathy laughs over here. But no, we put the Amiga name hoping that we can generate an interest, okay, in direct connection, internet-friendly type components or a communication language between your home appliances. That's what they're going to take the multimedia computer of the millennium and turn it into a toaster. I'm not the only one pissed, folks. I've been on IRC. We've been ranting and raving, and we have a right to be pissed. I mean, granted, I got my PC in 1995. I couldn't hold out anymore. I saw Magic Carpet that first time, and I said, damn it, I'm going to have a PC after all. There are times when the chunky bitmap pixeling system is a lot better than the planar system on the Amiga. But then again, Shadow of the Beast was never released for the PC, so touche. So even though I jumped ship, I was always hoping that someday a new Amiga would come out. And when they started releasing specs and the CPU and the operating system, I'm not the first one to have gotten a big chubber. I think I speak for a lot of the Amiga fans out there when I say, yes, that's what we were hoping to see. But no. Now we're going to have the Amiga name slapped on your toaster, curling iron, TV. And I don't know. My guess is we're going to see something along the lines of what Microsoft's putting together, which they deny every single time they're asked. It's like the same questions like how many bugs are in Windows 95. They refute the idea that they're releasing this set-top box. So my guess is Gateway says, Microsoft must be doing it, so that's pretty cool, so maybe we should do it. And they're going to stick the Amiga in a set-top box. But if you think it's going to look like an Amiga or act like an Amiga or run all that cool Amiga software you got tucked away in your closet, we're all sorely mistaken. So, just for fun, we got this jam session going on here. Just for fun, for those of you who do not know the evolution of the Amiga, this poor thing never had a chance. And that pisses me off, I think, most of all. The Amiga, as you know, we're going to go through this pretty quickly. I'm not going to do the whole history of Amiga here for you. The Amiga was designed by a group of individuals who were intent on bringing together a new generation of computers. Well, unfortunately, in the early 80s, which is the time the Amiga was actually created, there was the video game boom. Everybody wanted to be the next Atari 2600. Everybody wanted to be the next ColecoVision. So in order to get the funding for this project, these guys went out and got all these doctors and lawyers and, independently wealthy entrepreneurs and said, hey, we have got the video game box of the decade. This is going to do so much that you won't even believe it. There are things in the arcade and out in the arcade right now that we can overdo with this box. We can supersede it, and we can put it in a price tag and in a box that'll just blow people away. And the doctors and the lawyers, and I'll tell you what, they were reeled right in. I mean, we're talking Bass Trophy fishing time. They were pulled right in, and they gave all this cash, and next thing you know, these guys put together a computer. The original, not even the Amiga 1000 back then, brought it up to the electronics show and said, here we go. What do you think? Of course, the doctors were pissed. The lawyers were pissed. They all said, I thought you were building us a game box, not a computer, you dingleberries. So they pulled their funding and leaving these guys with a prototype of a box that they didn't know what to do with. I mean, they had cutting-edge technology, something to take them into the next decade, but no money. Well, Atari said, hey, that's a pretty nice little box you got there. How much you want for that? So Atari and the Commodore team went to bat and started talking about money. Well, Commodore, despite how stupid they've been, like every other time in their decision-making process, and I'll tell you more about that later. I got good stories. They snuck in under Atari, offered these guys far too much cash and far too much prosperity, and said, tell you what, you tell Atari to piss off, come work for us. And come on, we had the C64. We had the world's best-selling computer ever. I mean, we've sold more units than IBM has. Come on over to us. We'll take care of your computer. We'll get it out to the masses. And right underneath Atari's nose, they signed off on it. And boy, was Atari pissed. I mean, they were pissed. Too bad Commodore had to dump it in the woods. So what did Commodore do with it? Well, instead of saying, oh, my God, we've got the multimedia extravaganza, oh, God, no. Instead of doing that and saying, we'll release ourselves the best damn video game box and home entertainment box the world has ever seen, they said, hey, that IBM's getting into the home, man. It's in the businesses. That's where we want to be. Let's take our Amigas. Let's take this Amiga computer with this cool multitasking operating system, Windows-based operating system, and we'll take that and we'll push it out to the business market. Yeah. We know it's got 4,096 colors, 4-channel stereo sound. It's got sprites. It's got blitter. It's got multi-screen resolution. We got multi-screen resolution splitting. We've got everything. We own the video game market. But no, let's try to pump it into the Office. Well, at that point in time, who owned the Office? WordPerfect, WordStar. Wasn't going to happen, folks. So Commodore fell back and said, well, maybe we did mess up. Maybe we should try it again. But again, instead of promoting it to the home video game market, while they still had a chance, they tried once again to change their business strategy and release it to businesses. So I believe it was April 1993, Commodore went tits up. They're out of there. So SCOM of Germany. Now, let me tell you something, folks. If you have never met the CEO of SCOM, you have not met the stupidest person in the entire world. I went to the first U.S. SCOM meeting. If you go out on the internet and search for the Dark Unicorn Dispatch newsletter, my April edition of that, or May edition of that, I only put it out for about 8 months, so it's only one May edition. Pick that up and you'll see the whole story about how these morons ran the Amiga into the ground. Just to give you an idea, I'm not going to go into the full details. I won't go into the fact that they had an MPEG cartridge ready to go, a Zorro 3 slot you could have plugged into an Amiga and had full motion video before full motion video was even called full motion video. We won't go into that. We'll go into the fact that they did not want to make an Amiga 4000 with a CD-ROM stock out of the factory. Now remember, this is the age when, double spins, 4 spins were starting to get popular. Every PC was shipping with one. And I looked at Peter Tchaikovsky, or whatever his name is. I can never pronounce his name. I looked at him and said, you know what you need to do? You need to put a CD-ROM in here. Because if you say to the development industry, you say, I'm going to build a machine, and every machine I put out's got a CD-ROM. People are going to say, well, damn it, we need to develop for CD-ROM. Because every Amiga that's going out the door is going to have one. That will give you a software market. You get the software market, you get the software base, you're going to sell more boxes. I mean, it's a simple evolution. Everybody knows this, aside from these monkeys. All right, so you know what he said? Oh, no, too expensive. No. And you know the funny part is? Every one of the American Amiga dealers was behind him. No, we'll just add the CD-ROM if they want when they order it from our distribution house. No, you're not establishing a standard. Without establishing a standard, you're going to drill this thing into the ground. I asked him, I said, Peter, you guys do PCs too. I know you guys have a factory that makes PC stuff. How much would it cost to stick in a double spin CD-ROM drive? I'm not talking about anything extraordinary, not even SCSI, ID. How much? About $40. You're not going to put a CD-ROM drive in a computer for $40? You got to be kidding me. So I saw these guys going to drill the hole hard. Fortunately, SCOM declared bankruptcy 2 years later. Duh! Of course they're going to declare bankruptcy. So Gateway stepped in, paid, I think, $4.7 million, something like that. You know the figures? It was around there, yeah. $4.7 million, bought the whole lock, stock, and barrel. And now it's going to appear in a kitchen near you. Food for thought from Shane R. Monroe, your host. Ron, what do you think about this Gateway extravaganza?
Well, other than the fact that I just bought a new Gateway, I'm not exactly impressed with it. No, not at all. I love the Amiga computer. Have for over a decade. Been using the Commodore for almost 2 decades. 64 VIC-20. Don't like it at all. Although there is a good use for the Amiga toaster.
There's a good use.
There's a good use.
Yes.
I mean, you've got these 5 1/4-inch floppies from way back when that you can't use anymore.
There you go.
You could put them in there, nice and toasty.
Toast them up. That's one way of removing those hard-to-get-off labels off of those 5 1/4s. Well, we're going to take a moment here, and now that we got Ron back in the scene, we're going to talk a little bit about the emulation update. And I think Ron's actually been keeping tabs a little bit better on the emulators than I have. And I think I'm going to let Ron talk to you about the new version of MAME.
The new version of MAME, 36 Beta 5. Well done. I think the hallmark of this is 1,000 unique games now. I'm pretty impressed with that. The MAME dev has done an exceptional job. I don't understand why they broke Bosconian, though.
Now, see, that's something I didn't know. I didn't know they broke Bosconian.
Yeah, one of my favorite games, and it's broken. It looks as if they've added a prom to the ROM image.
Yep.
So, of course, it doesn't work now.
But, hey, they got Night Stalker in there. That's a pretty damn cool game. I got to flag them for that.
Yep.
And I did notice that front line you can actually die in now, like from getting hit by a bullet. So life is good. Life is good. It's the little things that get me happy about Maine.
Like dying. Yeah.
Like dying. Dying is a good thing. Actually, you know, since I moved down here, Ron and I have been hanging out for like 3 weeks now. Been hanging out, about 3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks.
We went to Castles and Coasters, which is that a chain? Is that like
No.
For those of you who don't know what Castles and Coasters are, I don't even know if there's some in Los Angeles or over in California, but this is like the ultimate fun park, man. I mean, they've got like 2 levels of video games, pinballs. All the classics are there, plus every of the new games. I mean, they got like 3 House of the Dead 2s for those of you who are the Dreamcast fans, and for those of us who just like the classics, they've got
74 classic games.
74, and he was really counting.
Yes.
And they even had Dragon's Lair too, which I'll tell you what. Of course, Ron decided he wasn't going to set me hip to that until after we got there. I see how it is.
Had to surprise you.
After that, we spent. You know what? You can tell what a hick I am. I come from the middle of Washington State, where they roll the carpets up at 6 o'clock. They actually, for those of you who maybe you live in the ass end of the universe. They have these cards. You actually buy credits on these cards. It's too cool. You buy credits on these cards, and you just go to the machine and stick the card in, and it credits you up, and you take your card back out. They even keep track of tickets. If you play like skee ball or something, they'll tally up how many tickets you win. And when you go, you don't have to sit there and hand the guy like 50 million tickets. So you count these for me, please? So that's pretty cool, even though I didn't do it. Hey, speaking of which, we were at Castles and Coasters, and they've got a Star Wars Episode 1 pinball. And I don't know how many of you people have actually seen it. I would have never, ever seen it. I would have just heard about it. This is totally cool. Now, you know how on Baby Pac-Man they had the video screen on the top and the pinball at the bottom? And, you know, it never quite worked out just right. Nothing felt complete. It was like they were actually trying to merge these two, and it just didn't work. Star Wars Episode 1 pinball has basically pretty much a full-blown pinball playfield. On the back of the playfield, where normally there'd obviously be like a wall or wherever your chutes were at the top, like the skill shot and stuff, they have a hologram that's pasted down over it. And as you play, you're constantly interacting with like this video screen that's pasted on the back of this thing. It's totally cool. When you do like your missions, your in-game missions, where you do different missions, you actually have to shoot down things that are running across the screen. It's just totally killer. I've chucked away far too much cash on that. If you have not seen that, I recommend going out to your favorite arcade. Hopefully they have one, and try that out. I thought that was pretty cool. Then we went to GameWorks. That was pretty cool. I got Ron on the Lost World shoot 'em up game. And that was pretty cool.
Entirely too intense.
Entirely too intense. Too cool. We didn't get a chance to go on the VR thing. We did see a sniper game, though, and I thought that was kind of cool. I was looking at Ron, and I said, Ron, this has got to be your game, man. And Ron's slant was, of course.
Well, after the Columbine thing and then the Texas thing, it just makes you wonder about what some people are thinking out there.
Now, wait a minute. You got to tell them about the license plate. You got to tell them about the license plate before this whole thing becomes even funny.
Okay. Just moved here to Arizona 2 months ago. Of course, had to register the car. Tried to get a personalized tag. Well, I was going to go for Sniper 75. They don't allow that many digits, so I went for Sniper. Former profession in the U.S. Army many moons ago. Comes back, they deny it. I call them up and ask them why they deny it, and they tell me it's because of the Columbine and Texas thing, and that public opinion would be offended by me having this license tag. So, should I tell them what I got?
Yeah, tell them what you got.
Okay. So I go through the little spiel with the guy, and I finally get the tag that I really wanted in the first place, Tron.
Woohoo! Now, Ron actually has a Tron machine on order. Why don't you tell us about that, Ron?
About a month and a half ago at the Classic Gaming Expo in Vegas, I met Stephen and Damon of Blasted from the Past Amusements.
Just to add my 2 cents, the next one I will be there, so I expect all of you to be there too, because we're going to hang and play games and stuff.
Cool. Met Damon and Stephen and talked to them and saw the Tron machine that they had brought with them. Unfortunately, it wasn't functional, but it was in cherry condition. All the side art was there. Original Tron blue joystick. Black light was working beautifully. It was just beautiful. So I talked to them, and as it turns out, they haven't they have an extra one that they want to sell. So I went ahead and put a deposit down, and I should have it within the next week and a half to 2 weeks.
Which means we all know where I'm going to be. So if I'm not on IRC, I'm over there playing Tron. You can bet your nuggets.
We're obviously playing Zybots.
Yeah, so we've done that too. But the new passion, the new addiction in the combination Ron Shane environment is Deluxe Galaga. And I've even started weaning Ron off the video games so we can play Deluxe Galaga. Used to go home and play MAME, now he goes home and plays Deluxe Galaga.
Forsaken MAME.
MAME hath been forsaken. Now, Ron has a hot rod, by the way, and I think I might have mentioned that early on, and which is really cool because I got the Spigot guys to send me over their prototype, which had a couple of little glitches in it, but we worked through them. We got it to where we could actually test it and play with it, and that's what happens when you send the prototypes. I guess things happen. So we're going to give you a heads-up comparison, heads-on. Both of us are going to give you our opinions. Ron's had the hot rod longer than I've had a chance to really play with it, and I've played the Spigot more than he has. So we're going to have a little bit of banter going back and forth and give some opinions on that. That'll be coming up next after we finish this Civil Emulation update. I told you we were going to skew off on a tangent. We just popped right off. Just to share with you, we did get a chance to look at the Windows version of RetroGaming, and I'm afraid to say that we haven't actually got to see anything just yet. I get assertion failures. He gets assertion failures. So page faults, and considering they said it wasn't even alpha yet, I guess we can't really complain. Things have been fairly slow. I guess Neil Bradley's been very, very busy. The mailing list has been dead. In fact, what's been on the mailing list lately is talking about how to emulate Dragon's Lair properly, amazingly enough. We're back to that again. Dragon's Lair seems to keep rearing its ugly head. Those of you, by the way, now we just jumped on the Laserdisc game topic, there is going to be an episode of Retro Radio covering the Space Ace DVD video game. It does play on your desktop player, just like the Dragon's Lair review I did. There's a lot of new stuff in this, and I'm not going to spill too much of it because I'd like to save it for the next episode, but I promised it, and it will come. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about emulators? What else do we want to talk about?
Well, so far as emulators go, I think that we pretty much hit it.
Is that all of it?
MAME RetroGaming.
Yeah. Nothing new that I've heard from Hive. C64S came out with an updated, but that's been passed around. Nothing new and exciting really there. Do you want to talk about the 2600 emulator?
You want to save that for 8-bit flashback?
We're doing a 16-bit flashback.
What the heck?
Tell them about it.
Okay. There's a new, well, it's not out on the market yet, but there is a new Atari 2600 emulator called Fee-Free 2600. I got a chance to take a look at the alpha, and I'm really impressed. It's based on the A26 core, which a lot of the other emulators are based upon, from the 2600 at least. It has a really, really glitzy Windows 9X front end for it. It works 95, 98. I don't believe it works in NT. I haven't read the documentation fully. There is a problem, though, because it is a DOS-based emulator, even though it's using a Win9X front end, you still have to follow the 8.3 naming conventions, otherwise it tells you that it can't find your ROM image, et cetera, et cetera.
Basically, piss off, Betty Wanka.
But we got it up and running, and it runs very smoothly on my P2233 EMU box with an 8-meg Matrox 2. I was getting 49.96 frames per second, which isn't terrible.
No, that's not bad. Yeah. Oh, gosh, anything? I don't think there's anything else really to cover in the...
The Z26 came out with a new release, but it's basically to just get in line with the new open architecture licensing.
Well, gosh, what else is there to talk about in emulation land? If you have news, emulation authors, you will listen. Send me information on your emulation releases. If you're working on anything to do with Genesis, C64, Atari, 2600, 5200, 7800, TurboGrafx, Sega Master System, anything like that, I want in on it. Hook me up on your mailing list. I'll get you the press. I'll get you press on Monroe World. We're not getting nearly as many hits as we used to when we were supporting MAME, but we still do get a considerable amount of traffic. Oh, on the Amiga emulation front, while we're talking about emulators, and we're kind of on the emulator update, there's the new version of Fellow came out sometime not too long ago. But it's been between shows. It's version 0.34, and they seem to have gotten their acts together in a couple of different areas, namely in the thing that WinUAE has not yet come up with fixing, which is collision detection problems. Namely Deluxe Galaga. Deluxe Galaga is not even playable in any other emulator but Fellow. And once you hear our segment on Deluxe Galaga, you will want in on it. Trust me. In fact, I'm probably going to open up a site, maybe a joint site between Ron and I that has to do with Deluxe Galaga, telling people how to get it set up and running properly on an Amiga emulator. Because if you haven't ever played this, man, you are seriously missing out. And Fellow and WinUAE and anybody who's interested in getting into Amiga emulation, I recommend you go over to my site, AmigaEmulation.com. Go over there. They've got a novice area that will take you by the hand and halfway spoon feed you the entire thing. It's gotten good reviews from all the Amiga people. Those of you specifically who have been asking about the Easy Amiga Emulation project, while Gateway's roasting of the Amiga as a toaster may prove to be beneficial if things go through and they actually stop supporting the Amiga outright. I'll go ahead and release the Easy Amiga Emulation package, including the workbench and whatnot that's on it, because what are they going to do? Hit me over the head with a toaster? Okay. All right, well, let's, I think now it's going to be time to talk about the Stick-It.
Oh, also, I just wanted to mention that Snipercade, in conjunction with Twin Galaxies, I don't know if you've seen it on my site or not, but it's there, and it's also on Twin Galaxies' site. We now support the Amiga High Score scoreboard.
Yeah, baby.
Orc Attack.
Yeah.
So if you have any Amiga scores and you want them posted to this website, it can be done. Just send them to me at sniper75@mindspring.com or just visit the website, snipercade.com. But also bear in mind that all scores that are submitted to me, as I am the worldwide editor for all things Atari and all things Commodore, will be published in next year's Book of World Records.
You'll be famous.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to be famous because no one's going to knock my Orc Attack score down.
Won't be me anyways.
Orc Attack rocks. We're going to save that for another episode. Okay, well, now let's go to that part of the episode I know a lot of you have been waiting for, and that's the review of the Stick-It controller. The Stick-It controller, you can see pictures and all that good stuff at the website www.d as in dog, L as in large, Ray, RAY.com, and you can go to Monroe World, heaven forbid, and catch a link off one of the last few news items the last few days, because we've been highly anticipating being able to use this controller. Just a quick overview of the controller. For those of you who have not gone to the site yet, basically it's, I don't know, what'd you say, 2.5 feet long?
Yeah.
2.5 feet long, maybe 3/4 of a foot deep, and then a height of maybe
about 3.5, 4 inches.
4 or 5, yeah, 4 inches. 4 inches. We're looking at 16 buttons plus 2 joysticks. They're laid out with 6 buttons per player, an orange credit up button for each player, plus a 1-player and 2-player start button. And what's notably on this controller is a little switch with a little red LED at the top corner, the top right corner. And that is the programming switch, and that's the real beauty behind the Stick-It. Now the interface is very cleverly put together to put it onto your PC. It comes with an AT plug with a PS2 pass-through, and I'm not sure why he chose to use 2 different genders of plugs, so to speak, instead of having it pass through the right way. But it all made sense because he included another adapter, so any way you need to plug it in, it works, and it comes with the parts to do that. It's got 5 or 6 page instruction manual. Doesn't have to get too wordy. It's got a quick control map of how the joysticks are pre-programmed, and you plug it in. It passes through your keyboard, just like the Hot Rod or any of the other controllers do. We got the prototype. In fact, it's at the factory now. It's getting mass-produced. We got the prototype because I told the guy if he wanted to get on this episode of Retro Radio that he needed to get us over one pronto. So he slammed all this stuff together in this prototype one, and he sent it over. And we did come across a glitch where and I don't know the technical parts of it. There's a PCB underneath and a couple of chips and some ribbon and the whole ball of wax. I don't profess to be an electronics engineer, but I gave the guy a jingle, and he said, well, listen, do this, and it'll temporarily get the gamepad active again for him, get the controller active for him. So we got that going, and boom, it worked just as it was advertised. And he promises me, swears to me up and down that that's part of the prototype glitch, and it will not happen on the manufactured editions. So that being said, and we did lose programming once while Ron and I were just playing the Lex Gala game between the show break that we're not going to tell you about. We played a couple of quick games of Deluxe Galaga, a little bit of Joust, and because he hadn't had a chance to actually play with the controller yet. I played the hell out of it last night, and I loved it. But we did have one glitch, and doing the workaround once again fixed it. And he said that there's something blown out on it that he did before he sent it over, and he apologized. And he said that won't plague the actual production models. First impressions on my end, very solid. It's a lot like the Hot Rod in the fact that you don't feel like you're holding a PlayStation game controller you go buy for $39 at KB Toys. Very solid construction. It doesn't have a lot of the fluff the Hot Rod has. The rounded edges, the moldings around the edges. It's a little raw in that respect. Mine comes in a straight. The prototype came in a straight white box, although he said there's a lot of stickers and markings that haven't appeared on this one yet. The controllers are 8-way, and the buttons and the controllers are right out of Hap's Controls. He buys his stuff from them, or he's having them produced or whatever with the Hap controls. So you're getting quality controls, and you can feel it. There's no doubt in your mind you're using real arcade components. It's heavy, but the Hot Rod's heavy too. I mean, they're not light controllers. They're not something you're going to comfortably sit on your lap for any length of time. Everything is pretty much a regular controller here, look, feel, and how it operates. Now, the one thing that is missing that Ron pointed out, do you want to tell him about that?
Sure. Well, there are actually two things that I see on the stick-it control versus the Hot Rod. First of all, the stick-it control doesn't have the buttons on the side for the pinball flipper type control.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
That I noticed was missing. The other thing that I don't like about the stick-it, I love everything else, but I don't like the fact that the controls are dedicated 8-way. The Hot Rod, you can pull the bottom off, move a piece of plastic, and the joysticks become 4-way for your pack-type games and games of that nature. So that's my only beef with the stick-it. If he fixes that, he would win me over.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with that. And that was one of the few things that I found feature-wise, where I could look at it and say, okay, it's missing this feature that the Hot Rod has. Now, part of what makes that good is like what Ron said, the Pac-Man games and the four-direction games. While the stick-it performs outstanding, it's still not as comfortable as if you had a real 4-way controller in your hand. And you know, there's a curve where you got to get used to it playing Pac-Man. I tried it last night playing Pac-Man, and it was a little uncomfortable compared to I haven't actually gotten used to the Hot Rod. Four direction note. So now I'm gonna go one-on with Ron on the flipper buttons on the side. The Hot Rod, I'll tell you, I tried it because I kept putting my hands on the side thinking, man, because I'm a Hyper 3D pinball fan. If you don't have Hyper 3D pinball and you're a pinball fan, there's no PC pinball to compare to that. Big plug. It's an old DOS game, and it's got the best music, sound effects, and table feel I've ever felt. So if you find that, don't buy it in the pack. You've got to buy it solo, because in the pack they stripped all the digital audio out of it. So you can't play it in the 5-pack that it comes in. But back to the flipper thing. The flippers on the side of the Hot Rod are more, I feel, coin-up buttons, because in all reality, your hands aren't comfortable there to put them in a pinball mode. But again, you know, that would be an advantage of the Hot Rod over the stick-it. Now, the Hot Rod retails for
$200 for the Hot Rod SE.
And that's one controller.
That's the two joysticks,
this whole deal.
14 buttons, the two flippers. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then there's the Hot Rod's other controller.
Just the Hot Rod is the one joystick and the 8 buttons.
And the 8 buttons. Now, one thing. Now let's move on to the programming. Where this is where I really feel that the stick-it kind of stomps the Hot Rod's butt. Programming on the Hot Rod, basically every button is assigned to something already pre-configured. Now, a lot of the front ends, like Arcade at Home have a hot rod setting that automatically maps the games out to play properly on the hot rod, which is nice.
It's also built into MAME now.
It's built into MAME, too. Didn't mean to miss the plug. Now, that's where the difference is between the stick and the hot rod. The stick is actually a completely controllable, configurable control set. And what I mean by that is you don't program the software to run with the controller. You program the controller to run with the software. How many times have you gotten into an emulator where there's no joystick mode because it's still early, but you want to play it, and the key mappings are all wrong, and if you had a hot rod and the key mappings were not made for the hot rod, you'd be screwed. You'd have to use like JoyMU or one of the key remapping softwares, which will slow down your emulation. The stick, it actually has a little switch, and this is where this little light comes from. The light, the LED, gives you the status report. It's always solid when you're in run mode. You flip the switch down into program mode, and it starts blinking slow, letting you know, hey, you're in program mode, Dingleberry, let's go. At that point in time, programming a button as easy as pushing a button, pushing the key on the keyboard you want it to correspond to, and pushing the button again. Boom, it's programmed. And you can do all of this. We reprogrammed the controller for Deluxe Galaga in seconds.
Yes.
I mean, under less than a minute, we can change the configuration for Joust or for Galaga or anything we wanted to. And I'll let you know, folks, Fellow will not let you use a regular digital joystick. You can't use it. You have to use analog or a mouse. And I'll tell you what, you'll be pissed if you ever have to play Deluxe Galaga with an analog joystick. You want a digital. You want a gamepad or a controller like the stick or hot rod. Now, the nice thing is, in Fellow, you cannot change your key maps. You are going to use the arrows, and you're going to use the right control key, and that's it. The stick let us play Galaga with controllers where we couldn't do that with the hot rod. And there's a lot of cases where that, I think, would sway a consumer into what to buy. Now, along with that, and this is actually both a feature and a drawback of the Stick-It, that Ron actually brought up to me, was it yesterday, or was it today, bringing up the idea, you can actually program multiple keystrokes per button. So let's say you're a Mortal Kombat fan and your fatality move for Sub-Zero is forward, down, forward, high punch, which we all know that it is, but it plays Mortal Kombat. You can actually program that entire sequence to a single button push and do that all through the hardware. You don't have to load the Microsoft Sidewinder profiler. You don't have to do any of that crap. It's all built into the hardware. No drivers. You don't have to install any drivers. It all does it native in the hardware. You could also assign rapid fire controls, rapid multiple key press controls. There's just a number of different, there's endless possibilities how you can configure this thing. Now, as Ron pointed out, things like track and field, they require 2 alternate key presses for run, or how did you put it? The
run like hell button.
The run like hell button. What was that you were talking about that was already in something? The run like hell button. You guys got some IMPs from?
Oh, from Mark, from the Mark site. Actually, if you have a Gravis pad, you can map the third button to the run like hell, and that's just a hack to get around and cheat in the game. What I see here, particularly for Mark and Twin Galaxies and my site, where we track high scores and we try to be as fair and equitable as possible, this Stick-It joystick configuration utility now gives you the ability to cheat without cheating.
Cheat without being caught,
right.
I guess is probably it. Because the cheating in the Gravis pad apparently was traceable by decompiling the INP and looking at how it's put together.
Right, we hexadded it.
So now you're talking about being able to configure something with a Stick-It where you gain such an incredible advantage that it may actually be unfair. Now, for most people, that's a feature. For some people, and for poor Ron and Mark, who's going to get IMP sent to them, why, that's going to make their lives a living hell. But for you and me, for the common game player who don't want to have to remember how to do down, roll, forward, back, fire button for the pick my ass part of Street Fighter and Sonic Boom, whatever. So now let's see, what else can we talk about the Stick-It here? I really like it. I think the price. I didn't even brought up the price. $149. And if I remember right, you may even throw in shipping. I don't remember. You have to check the site. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a representative. I'm a game player. $149. Now, for me, the hot rod's always been out of my reach. I just could not put $200 down. Now, $149 isn't any easier to put down, I got to admit. Aside from the fact that I got one already now. But for the average guy, spending $200 on a controller is a lot of it. $149, you're figuring you're buying an arcade, you're buying a cabinet's control panel. That's basically what you're doing. Now, what makes this a valuable investment? You can go out and actually buy a PlayStation arcade controller, get an adapter for $30 and plug it into your PC. For $70, have what you think is like a stick-it or a hot rod, but it's not. You don't have real arcade controls. You're not using the same joysticks used in the arcade, and you don't even come close to the configurability that you can do with this. Even the Sidewinder and the Profiler and stuff, you don't have the kind of control you've got. And if you need to switch a button on the fly, let's say you're playing Zybots, and you don't like the button configuration. There's no hitting tab, going through main, figuring out which control is what, because that gets kind of hairy. You both stop moving for a second, you flip the button, you do a couple of key presses, and you're done. It goes so smooth when you actually do one, when you program a button, and you go, wow, that was really fast. So much easier to have to reach over, go through the menus, find the thing to configure. And to me, I think that's going to really be the crux. I think this guy, as long as the production models go smooth, as long as the production models don't have this little glitch that this one got sent, I think he's got a winner. In fact, I'm going to recommend everybody that I know to pick one up. Because if you're waiting for the lower cost controller that still has the 2 joysticks and all the configuration, I think this is going to be your guy. There's also a couple of Easter egg features, which I'm going to bring up, but I'm not going to tell you how to do it because he wants to save it as an Easter egg for the controller. You can actually map multiple control center, or basically multiple control configurations. In other words, at this point you can have 2, and I think maybe there may be ways to do more, and he's just not telling even me. But basically, let's say you play Deluxe Galaga a lot, and if you listen close to the 16-bit flashback, I guarantee you're going to play Deluxe Galaga a lot. But you also play MAME a lot. You got games you want to play in MAME. So you program the configuration for Deluxe Galaga, which is a real pain in the butt, so you don't want to lose that one once you get it done. There's a way you can switch it over, and I do know how to do this, but please don't write to me and ask. Let the author have his fun. Let the designer have his fun. Where you can actually make a second set of controls and flip back with a couple of keystrokes. Pretty cool. It's almost as good as the Retro Babe thing in RetroCade. Almost, but not quite. There's no boobs on the stick.
Yeah.
Not yet, but hey, he does say that he's taking solicitations. So you never know. He says he wants features. Maybe he'll do that for you. Ron, how about, why don't you, now that I've sat here and yapped, why don't you, do you have anything else to add on the Stick-It?
I think the Stick-It is an exceptional controller. I like the feel. The buttons, again, they're basically the same quality as those of the Hot Rod. In my opinion, I think the Hot Rod is a sleeker design. It's a little more comfortable in the angling, but then again, this is a beta version of this prototype. I'd really like to see what the production model looks like. The price, you really can't beat it. You get 2 sets of controls for $150, where with the Hot Rod you get 1 set of controls for $150. You pay that extra $50 to get the extra controls, and maybe that's not quite worth it. The functionality of the programmability of this thing on the fly absolutely owns.
There you go. There's the word, folks. Owns. Yeah, and for those, if you got any questions, if you want to ask me how does a certain gameplay or whatever, please feel free to send me a mail. I'd be happy to tell you about it. I'm hoping to get this guy some more exposure because I really believe in this product. And once I get a production model that I know works, and it's not just he just didn't send me a glitchy product, I'm going to go on his word and say that the production models aren't going to do this, and he's agreed to send me one. As soon as I get one, I will do it as a future review on Retro Radio to let you know if there was any discrepancies and the differences. I'd like to see the final stickers and the labeling and all that. I think that'd be really nice, too. But as a prototype, looking at this as a prototype, I think this guy's just going to sweep the market. If he can even trim the cost just a tad more to put it under the cost of the 1 controller Hot Rod, that's really going to give him a great thing. If he can keep the marketing on the net and keep the cost down, and you'll probably see me being involved a little bit. I'd like to help this guy get going. I'd hate to see the idea stop because he couldn't get a good website with the secure services and all this stuff going. If he needs that kind of help, I'll help him out. Because you know how I am. I get all passionate about stuff I want to support and I'm happy with and excited about. It's not because he sent me a free one. It's not because of that. It's because I believe in the product, and that's how I've always been and how I'll always be. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for the Stick-It, unless Ron wanted to interject anything else. I keep looking down thinking, Galaga. We could be playing Galaga instead of recording the show, Ron. This would be cool. But no, we've got to record the show. The show must go on. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our 16-bit flashback, but I'm going to play the little routine for the 8-bit flashback right now anyway, because it's kind of cool and it's a regular part of the show and you just feel lost without it.
It's time for a 16-bit flashback.
As you already know, we are going to do Deluxe Galaga. Now let's have a little history of Deluxe Galaga. Deluxe Galaga was obviously and originally only put out for the Amiga computer line. It's both OCS and AGA, for those of you who know what that means. It does prefer a megabyte of memory. And when's the last time you saw a really cool game running a megabyte that was like running on your PC, other than MAME or something? It was a shareware game, and I do believe the author released the full version. You can pick it up at shareware.com. I do have the version up on AmigaEmulation.com. It does run in WinUAE, but there is no collision detection. You'll have to run in Fellow. Now, what is Deluxe Galaga? Well, if you thought the word Galaga in there tipped you off somewhat to the gameplay, you're right. The standard swarms of aliens in a level-based attack wave situation, that's basically what it is. Now, the bugs fly onto the screen in different patterns. You shoot them down, and that's kind of where its relation to actual Galaga pretty much runs out.
It just dead ends right there.
Dead ends. Now, you can capture you can have an extra ship, so to speak. You can get two, actually, because you can actually capture aliens, actually capture the bugs, and they can fight. What game was like that? Couldn't you capture on Galaga 88 or something like that?
Galaga 88, yes.
Yes, you could capture. Same idea. But you only capture two. I think in one of them you could capture like 6 or something like that. Have 3 on each side.
4 on Galaga 88.
4 on Galaga. See, nice to have Ron here. You can fact check it. And that is a similarity. And that's pretty much where it is. I mean, okay, we'll go that far and say that's where it ends with Galaga. So why are we ran about this game? Why are we so excited? Well, first of all, it's 2 players simultaneous. Now, I don't know if you've ever imagined playing Galaga with 2 players, but imagine it. And it works very well. You think, they get in the way. The screen is actually bigger.
It's wider.
It's wider. So you've got more room to work. And the graphics are very well done.
Very crisp.
Very clean.
Very clean.
Very clean. And now I'm going to tell you right now, unless you've got just the stellar computer from hell, you're going to be frame skipping, and it's not going to look it's going to look choppy at times. But I'll tell you what, now Ron can attest to this. If you ever played Deluxe Galaga on a real Amiga, you'll never want to play it on the emulator again. We got it on the CD32. We've been playing every now and then.
It owns me.
It owns Ron. Ron has been owned. Anyway, so how does it differ then? If we've talked about the similarities, how does it differ? Well, again, 2 players simultaneous. You start off with 3 ships, standard deal. You have so many credits to continue. If you're playing a 1-player game, you get 2 credits to continue. If you're playing a 2-player game, you get 4. So you basically each get 2. But you can use all 4 for the guy that's a little slower. No big deal.
You can share credits.
You can share credits, which is good. Now, there is a financial system. That's the first thing we're going to look at. Inside Deluxe Galaga, you can gather money. And money comes in 2 different formats. One, you can shoot an enemy and he drops a coin. And coins vary in value from $10 to 200, I think.
200,
yeah. And you pick those up by running into them, just like a standard power-up on any other video game. This isn't anything new. It's just new how they put it together. After you go through 5 waves, you go through a warp. At the end of the warp, if you've got enough money to enter the store, which is like you need $50 to buy the lowest thing on the list, you go to the store and you'll purchase your weaponry. You've got everything from speed-ups to extra bullets,
right?
Double shot, triple shot,
quad shot,
rank markers. You can buy extra lives. They pretty much got a full service, and I'll talk about rank markers in a minute. So you've got financial system. Along with the financial system, there's also ways of losing money, which really pisses us off. It's evil. It's an evil game. The other way you can get money is in meteor storms, and we're going to go into meteor storms later on because I think that's a really kick-butt feature of Deluxe Galaga. Ron's in agreement. Now, the next faction of it are power-ups, and power-ups can be in 2 different things. They can either be ship enhancements, or they can be mini-games. And at this point, there's only 2 that I can think of, which is the Meteor Storm and the memory game.
Right.
We'll start. Do you want to explain the Meteor Storm?
Well, the Meteor Storm is pretty straightforward. You have to avoid meteors as they cascade down the screen at you. To put a twist on this, you get points for every second that you survive. In addition, you can collide with certain types of meteors. There are two. One will give you additional points above and beyond the timer, and the other is money. And the money ranges anywhere from 10 to, I think I've seen 500.
I think I've seen 500 too.
In there as well. So
yeah.
It can definitely help in serious buckage when it comes to...
Now, you won't lose a life in the meteor storm. If you do, you'll either die or you'll finish the storm, and you see your progress tracked on a radar on the side. If you do finish, they shower you with goods. I think they give you either 100,000 or 1,000,000 points.
First kicker is the 100,000 points.
100,000 points, and they give you some enormous amount of cash.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, when you do it the first time, you'll just totally wig out. Now, one thing I will tell you about a hint about the meteor storm, if you hold your fire button down when you're inside the meteor storm, they'll travel faster. The rocks will travel faster too, but it's like playing Pac-Man in turbo mode. Sometimes it's better faster, especially during the beginning when you can easily dodge the rocks. You're kind of racing through it. You're getting more to the meat quicker. And that's nice. And I don't know if we mentioned or not, but you both play the meteor storm together. You're both when you're in two-player simultaneous mode. You're both in the hot seat together.
That's right.
So you not only do you have to worry about the meteors, but how you're going to share the cash, how you're going to share the goodies. Usually you just stay on your own side of the screen and hope to God you make it through. I would recommend having at least a 1 speed up or maybe even 2 speed ups to get through that. I think the 2 or 3 times I've done it, I've had a lot of speed. You don't have any weapons. You can't shoot the meteors down. It's simply a stick and dodge sort of thing. The next game is the memory game, which is your basic game of concentration. You've got a grid of boxes, and you choose 2 at a time. You've got like 30 seconds. Some of the boxes will reveal extra time so that you can keep looking longer. What is it, like 6 by 6 maybe, or 7 by 7?
I think it's 6 by 6.
6 by 6. I think so too. And basically, as you uncover these, you can get anything from money to points to rank markers to extra lives. What else is in there? Is there anything else in there?
There was ship modification. There were shields.
Oh, yeah. There's everything in there.
And then there's death heads.
And there's death heads. And as soon as you hit the first time you hit a skull in there, you're done. You're done with the meteor or the memory game. Very valuable. And the nice thing is if you catch one of those during like a bonus stage, you'll automatically finish the bonus stage and you'll get 100% accuracy. I mean, you get all the aliens in a bonus stage. Well, I guess that is like Galaga too. They have a bonus stage every now and then.
Yeah.
Not quite as regular. It's a little more infrequent, I think, than Galaga. So those are the 2 sub-games. You pick up power-ups by shooting aliens, and these things fly down at you, and you pick them up for both the memory game and the meteor storm. Now, the other things you have are ship modifications, double shots, triple shots, extra bullets, extra speed.
Quad shot. There's
yeah, baby. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. Quad shot just owns.
Especially on the suicide door.
Especially on the kamikaze missions. There's kamikaze missions where these guys come down in droves, and I guarantee if you're underneath them and you're not quick, you will.
Game over.
Yeah, game over. You done. So you got ship modifications, you got the things, and you also have a couple of other interesting ones like skulls. Now, unless you know the secrets of Galaga, skulls, by the way, without knowing the secrets of Galaga, Deluxe Galaga, the skulls strip you of everything you have. If you have ship's armor, gone. If you have triple shot, gone. Everything reverts your ship down to the bare bone essence. So why would they give you something like that when that's so unfair? Well, if you get the 3 different colored skulls, there's a red, a blue, and a green. If you pick each one of these skulls up over the time, they will give you everything. They will give you the highest weapon. They will give you cash. They will give you points. And you will be. If somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes. That's basically what we're talking about here. So getting the skulls can be good. But I'll tell you what, when you've got quad shots and you've got ship's armor and you're being a total kick-ass, that skull sucks. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So what else we got in there? You pick up letters.
Yep.
You pick up letters to spell the word extra. You get an extra life. You pick up all those.
Bubble bobble.
All a bubble bobble. You can actually. There's actually ones that. There's actually warp ones, too. They'll warp you right out of that level and take you to the next shot, skip you past. There's ones that make all the enemies explode into gems, and the gems are worth points if you can pick them all up. And then the good one is the money bomb.
Oh, yes.
Catch the money bomb, and all the ships on the screen explode into money. Oh, damn.
Great pillage and plunder.
That's right. I'd hate to be plundered. Terrible thing. No, but anyway. So let's see. Well, there's other. Oh, you get bonus multipliers ×2, ×3, ×5.
Times 5 is the highest.
I don't think there's anything higher than ×5. But let's see what else is there. Oh, yeah. Now there's lots of little things that you don't always see. Sometimes this big giant space invader looking bastard will come flying across the screen and drill you like the laser guy on Gorf, on the second level of Gorf. The guy just drills you, and you never even see him coming. On some levels, you have giant, like boss bugs included with the foray of little nasty little gnats that you got to shoot down. You got to shoot those guys dozens of times, depending on your weapon, of course. Then you got rank markers. If you shoot these big guys down, they send down this little circle sphere thing, and it's a rank marker. You pick up I think there's 5 or 6 colors of rank markers, and you go up a rank from ensign to all the way through the ranks. And at the end of the game, you'll get points based on how high of a rank that you've managed to obtain throughout the game. So that's another bonus. This game just keeps giving you stuff. I mean, it's very, very cool.
Don't forget our favorite, the ship that takes your money.
Please do. Tell him the story.
Oh, you've got a ship that comes out, and if you are unable to kill it in a certain number of shots or a certain amount of time, it takes all of your money from you.
And it flies away, never to be seen again. Now, for those of you collecting secrets going, man, I can't wait to play this game, let me tell you a secret about the money ship. If you stay on a level too long, which I guarantee you will eventually, because especially when you got single shot like on level 27, you spend the rest of your days nipping away at those guys. This nasty little space invader ship comes from the top, and the girl says, hurry up, and all these missiles start, guided missiles, like heat seekers come down after you. You can't shoot them. You can only hope to avoid them, and chances are you won't avoid them. If 8 of these ships come by, heaven forbid you live that long, this big money vault will come out. Now, he won't run. You've got all the time in the world you want to kill him. It takes a lot of shots. When you kill him, he explodes into thousands of dollars in cash. I mean, it rains money. It's beautiful. I mean, it's like Christmas time. You'd be thinking you're at the mall seeing Santa and shit like that. Beautiful. You'd love that. I've only gotten to do that once, though, folks. I can't make it past the hurry-up ships. We're really missing. There's got to be something we're missing on here.
No, I think that's actually it.
Wow.
Even though it's an awesome game.
It's truly awesome. Truly awesome. And you know, when was the last time you saw a game like this cool that fit on like a 720K floppy? Deluxe Galaga, man. Deluxe Galaga is where it is. Now, if you want to see screenshots, and I'm probably going to put some screenshots through the video while you were watching, you probably saw them. Got to plan these things in advance, I guess. You can also get screenshots at MonroeWorld.com. I got 9 of them on there. And see for yourself how cool it is. There's one other flaky thing about the emulator. Some of their shots, not very often, some of them seem to disappear, and you'll just die out of nowhere. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, and it just pisses you off when it does, because you know you didn't get hit. I'm hoping that when UAE picks up pretty soon, and
I call them the Casper shots.
Casper shots, the friendly ghost. There's got to be something we're missing with Deluxe Galaga.
No, it's just we're too hyped when we play it.
Okay, let's just put it this way. Play it. You'll be hooked. And then you can submit your scores to Galaxies.
Yep.
And get in the world record book. Now, according to the guy that gave up all the secrets, and the Deluxe Galaga secrets are floating around the web somewhere. I'm not going to tell you where. I'll probably put them on Monroe World. This guy claims he's got 12 million?
20 million. 20
million. So, now, since we can't authenticate his score, it doesn't stand just yet. So we've all got a fighting chance. So, now that's probably what continues, though, too.
Right.
And so, you want to give him give him the rules on the Twin Galaxy stuff?
1 credit, no continues for Twin Galaxies. Default settings, which is as per normal.
That means no giving yourself 15 ships in Stargate, okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
No. Since there's no way of validating a score with the Amiga at this point other than to take a photograph of your screen and then submitting it, the mailing address is on the the Twin Galaxies, Atari, and or Commodore site. It's on both. That's the only way we can verify the home console systems. That or a VHS videotape.
Yeah, no one wants to do that, so take a Polaroid. Take a Polaroid. Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap that up, and we'll clean that out. Do you want to do some plugging for, do you have any more plugging you need to do on your site?
Nope.
I mean, isn't that why people come on talk shows and stuff, is to plug?
Well, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Snipercade is. It's basically a high-score site, been around closing on 3 years. My focus has been predominantly MAME. I don't do news. There's too many other sites out there. Your site, Dave's, Jose, Tim's. Too many sites that do news, and it's not my niche. I do the high scores. I try to do a good job, try to keep everything current and fresh. Recently, I've been focusing more on Twin Galaxies, especially the Atari and Commodore platforms, since those are my platforms of choice and my first loves for the computer and console world. But so far as the classic arcade games go, MAME is clearly the forerunner. I think RetroCade is truly spectacular. Hive is pretty awesome. When they can support the INPs, then I'll accept them on my site.
I guess everyone's waiting in anticipation for us to do this Retro Radio CD-ROM giveaway. I think we should probably do that. First, the rules. I'm going to pick a name at random from the mailing list. You will have to write me, Shane Monroe, webmaster at MonroeWorld.com, and repeat this phrase to me via email. What's it going to be? I know. We'll call it, put the lotion in the basket. Okay? That's what I want you to write. So now let me go pick a winner. Put the lotion in the basket. That's what you got to write back to me. If you're the winner, whose name I'm about ready to announce. Okay, I'm going to have to go to the computer here. Okay, the random number picked was 299. The 299th person on the mailing list. I'll have a drum roll, but I have no drums. It's J. Moya at Excite.com. That's J-M as in Mary, O-Y-A at Excite.com. You have, how much time should we give them?
3 days.
You got 72 hours. 72 hours. Write me at webmaster@MonroeWorld.com, and you will win the Retro Radio Commemorative Edition CD-ROM, which, got to go into plug mode. Retro Radio CD-ROM contains the entire last year of Retro Radio archives, complete in all of their Real Player and Real Player G2 glory. The episodes that were done in MPEG are included. We throw in some great stuff like a front end to access them. Well done, nice little front end, very configurable, usable. We throw in players. We throw in just about everything you need. Plus we throw in some extra bonuses. The good gentleman over at BucknerGarcia.com gave us a 3-song compilation. Not only is it included as an MP3 on the CD, and this is exclusive, folks. You can't get this anywhere else. This is a Retro Radio only thing. It is also a digital audio track on the CD. That's right. You can take this CD and put it in your car, put it in your stereo, and listen to it. Impress your friends. Amaze your friends. It's like Mr. Microphone. We'll be back to pick you up later. What else we got in there? We got digital audio. We got the attract mode audio. We actually got permission. We called Digital Leisure. They called the powers that be. We've actually got CD quality digital audio tracks, 3 tracks of all the Space Ace, Dragon's Lair, and Dragon's Lair 2 attract mode audio. So you can impress people amazing by playing Dragon's Lair. You can play that whole thing for everybody right off the CD. There's tons of video clips on there. Lots of extra hidden goodies. We went all out to put the CD together for you folks. If you're not, J. Moya at Excite.com, you can own the Retro Radio CD experience for the low price of $9.95 delivered in the United States. If you're outside the United States, we'll charge a little extra for shipping, but we'll get it over to you. We will ship out of the States. You can get your Retro Radio CD. They are home burns. We don't have a production line or anything. There's no way I'm going to burn 1,000 of these puppies. So if your system has trouble reading burns or you don't know if they have trouble reading burns, you might want to consider that. I can't be held responsible. But you get a nice case. You get a jewel case. You get jewels case inserts. You even get the back thing with the menu on it and everything. $9.95 delivered. You can get that at MonroeWorld.com. Go to the Buy the CD link underneath Retro Radio. And Ron got one for his birthday.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
And he loved it.
Yeah, there you go. I got living proof. It rules. I've got testimonials that I got a post from the other people who have bought it, and one that are in the scavenger hunt, Eric Moore, he said he just loved his. He won his in the scavenger hunt. And we sold, I don't know, another 10 or so, I guess. 5, 10, something like that. I don't know. Not keeping count. This isn't a for-profit thing here, people. We're doing this to get Retro Radio out and keep you from having to download all that crap. That about ends my plug for the Retro Radio CD-ROM. We are established now. There was a time when we were in the moving process and I wasn't accepting orders. That's not true anymore. We are accepting orders. So if you want them, $9.95. For the price of a cup of coffee every day, you can save a hungry child and get a Retro Radio CD. Namely, the hungry child being my kid. But, we feed her.
Once a month.
Once a month, We throw her a rat and hope that she can digest it in the period of a month. Okay, folks. Well, go over, visit our site, visit the sites that make the Retro Radio possible, MonroeWorld.com, AmigaEmulation.com. I do celebrity sites. We'd love to have you come over to David Carradine, Kung Fu and O'Kane, CynthiaRothrock.org. Actually, I'm sorry, it was DavidCarradine.org, CynthiaRothrock.org. You know who Cynthia Rothrock is. Very talented martial artist, also an actress, 5-time World Karate Championship. Her site's open. You can go take a look at that. We're working on trying to get Emilio Estevez and Jane Seymour, so hopefully we'll add them to our list of sites later on. And, Scorched Tanks. Got to give you an update on Scorched Tanks. Oh, yeah. Man, how could I forget that? I just got another alpha build from Michael Welch, who's building Scorched Tanks. Don't have a clue what Scorched Tanks is? Imagine Scorched Earth, which everybody seems to know, like on steroids. Intensified, big time. Now, this is an Amiga game originally, and is being ported to the PC. And here's the good news. Not only is it being ported to the PC for Windows 9X, but it's also being ported to Linux. That should make you Linux people happy. And if you can even possibly believe this, the iMac. And he even says the iMac's like the fastest version that he's got running right now. We're trying to get him to port it to the BOS. Help me out here, folks. Go to ScorchedTanks.com. That's the official site for Scorched Tanks. Go there, write to Michael Welch. His link's at the bottom. Email the author and say, we want a B port. Tell him you want it, and I bet he'll do it. He's a good guy. He used to work with me in Dark Unicorn Productions, which we have a website too, dup.monroeworld.com. Tons of stuff. Links Lagoon. We got all sorts of stuff in Monroe World. Come on over. We've got something for everybody. Man, I just can't get out of plug mode. Ron, help me. I'm drowning in plug mode. Gosh.
I guess we're just going to have to put a plug in you.
You got to put a plug in me, yeah, and keep my mouth shut.
I was thinking the other end.
No, one way. One way. Nothing goes in. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Nobody goes in, nobody comes out. That's what I'm talking about. Backtalk. We didn't have any Backtalk subscriptions. It's still a little early. If you want to hear yourself on Retro Radio, we've got an upload area now on Monroe World where you can upload your audio clips and we'll play them. You got comments on the scene, comments on Retro Radio. Just want to give me crap? Bring it on. Make sure they're constructive. That'd be pleasant. And, try to keep the profanity to a minimum. It's a family show, more or less. I guess it depends on your family, right? But I'm talking about the Manson family. Okay, so is that it? Plug's done. Backtalk. Get heard on Retro Radio. Get fame. Well, not fortune, but not even really fame. Gosh, what are we going to offer him? Well, maybe we'll give away another Retro Radio CD to the best of show comment. There you go. There you go. Just
fortune and glory.
Fortune and glory. Everyone's been wanting to know how they can get a free Retro Radio CD. Get your Backtalk files up on Monroe World. Let us hear what you got to say. We'll play it. You'll be heard by the masses. Okay, folks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We've been chatting forever. Once again, this is Shane R. Monroe from Retro Radio. My guest today was
Ron Corbett of SniperCade.com,
and we've enjoyed having you. We hope that you join us again. We're going to do another live show soon. Me and Ron are going to do a live show. He doesn't know this yet. I just now dropped this bomb on him. We're going to do a live show.
Oh no.